The rain fell softly on the neon-soaked streets of Neo-Tokyo, creating a silent symphony that blended seamlessly with the distant hum of hovercars and the luminescent glow of holographic advertisements. Aiko darted through the shadows, her heart racing with both excitement and fear. Half human, half fox, she was a creature caught between worlds, a being defined by her mysterious lineage and the prejudice it brought upon her. With her striking crimson eyes and fox-like ears peeking through her silvery hair, she was both beautiful and vulnerable in this unforgiving city. As she slipped into a narrow alley, her breath was stolen away by the sight ahead, Renji. Clad in dark armor that glimmered under the cold light, he stood with his back against the wall, a lone warrior forged in the fire of a harsh world, embodying strength and resolve. His eyes, sharp and determined, searched the street for danger, but they softened when they met hers. "Aiko," he murmured, relief flooding his voice as he stepped towards her. "You shouldn't be out here alone. It's too dangerous." With a playful grin, Aiko crossed the distance between them, feeling the warmth radiating from his presence. "And leave you to face the shadows by yourself? Never." She could see the tension in his shoulders ease as he took her hand, intertwining their fingers, and for a moment the outside world faded away. They were two souls united in defiance of a reality that sought to tear them apart. "Did you find anything?" Renji asked, his tone shifting to seriousness. The gravity of their circumstances sat heavy on their shoulders. It was no ordinary night. They were fugitives, subjects of a relentless pursuit by the Ashigaru. Aiko's smile faltered as shadows danced at the edges of her memory. She recalled the whispers of fear surrounding half-breeds, how society viewed them as abominations born from the madness of experimentation. "I overheard them talking again about another hunt. They're closing in, Renji. We can't stay here much longer." Renji's grip tightened around her hand, a fierce fire igniting in his gaze. "Then we'll leave. We'll find a place where they can't reach us, a village, a sanctuary, anywhere but here." Aiko nodded, the weight of his words echoing her own longing for escape. Together, they were determined to forge a new path, one that lay outside the chains of fear that had bound them to the city. The next morning, dawn broke over Neo-Tokyo, casting a pale light through the clouds of the previous night's rain. As Aiko and Renji prepared for their journey, a sense of urgency filled the air. They gathered their meager belongings, knowing that their lives were no longer defined by the city they loved and feared. They were stepping into an unknown future. "Do you think we'll find it?" Aiko asked softly, her voice betraying a hint of doubt. "The quiet?" Renji replied, his eyes never leaving hers. "Yes, we will. We just have to trust in each other." Armed with nothing but a couple of packs and their resolve, the pair left the safety of the alley that had become their refuge. Stepping into the bustling streets, they felt the eyes of the world upon them, yet their connection shielded them from the turmoil surrounding them. Navigating through crowded marketplaces and back alleys, they began their escape from the city. Along the way, muffled conversations about the Ashigaru mirrored their fears. Rumors of the agency's meticulous hunts and the horrors that awaited captured half-breeds sent shivers down Aiko's spine. Despite the danger, she and Renji pressed on, their bond growing stronger with each step they took toward freedom. It was not just about survival, it was about love, transcending the boundaries that society had imposed upon them. Hours turned into days as they traveled through a landscape that slowly transformed from urban labyrinths to sprawling fields. The world beyond Neo-Tokyo offered an alluring serenity they had never known. Yet, the shadows of their past followed close behind. After weeks of travel, the pair stumbled upon a secluded village nestled within a lush valley, bordered by ancient trees that whispered of times long past. The quaint homes with their wooden exteriors and thatched roofs felt like a dream to Aiko, a sanctuary from the chaos and violence they had escaped. As they wandered through the village, curious villagers regarded them with cautious glances. There were still those who held prejudice against half-breeds, but there was also kindness, a warmth that contrasted sharply with the coldness of Neo-Tokyo. Aiko felt something she hadn't in so long, a sense of belonging. Renji kept close beside her, his protective nature a constant reassurance. They finally approached a kind old woman who ran the village inn. "Welcome, travelers," she said in a gentle voice. her eyes sparkling with kindness. "You look like you could use a warm meal and a place to rest." Over steaming bowls of rice and fish, Aiko and Renji shared their story, though skimming over the darker details of their past. They offered their skills in exchange for food and shelter, becoming part of the village fabric, finding solace in simple routines. Though the peace was fragile and hard-won, a familiar sense of dread crept into Aiko's heart. The Ashigaru were still out there, a constant reminder that their past was never truly behind them. One evening, as they returned from gathering supplies, the dreaded sound of hovercars pierced the tranquility of the village. Aiko and Renji exchanged panicked glances, knowing all too well what that sound meant. "The Ashigaru," Renji breathed, his eyes narrowing as he scanned the sky. "We have to hide." Aiko's heart raced as they sprinted toward their inn, their sanctuary that in an instant felt like a trap. The village had become home, but now it was also a risk. With every step, she could feel the weight of Renji's hand on her back, urging her forward. They reached the inn and hurried inside, shutting the door behind them. Breathing heavily, they leaned against the door, listening for the ominous sound of footsteps. "What do we do?" Aiko whispered, her voice barely above a murmur. Renji's jaw clenched. "We can't let them find us. We need a plan. There's a network of caves nearby. It's rumored to be a hidden passage where half-breeds can escape." "But what about the villagers?" Aiko argued, feeling a pang of guilt twist her stomach. "They'll be in danger if we draw the Ashigaru here." "I know," he replied, his tone firm yet pained. "But the longer we stay, the more at risk we become. We need to get out tonight." As darkness cloaked the village, the couple prepared for their escape. Aiko gathered her belongings, her heart heavy with the thought of leaving a place that had begun to feel like home. With one last look at the inn, she turned to Renji, determination igniting within her. "Let's do this." Under the blanket of night, Aiko and Renji crept through the woods surrounding the village. The cool air bit at their skin as they moved, fueled by fear and an unyielding desire to survive. The familiar sounds of the village faded away, replaced by the rustle of leaves and the haunting calls of nocturnal animals. "Are you sure about this passage?" Aiko asked, her voice trembling slightly. "It's the only chance we have," Renji replied, his tone steady, masking the uncertainty that crept into his mind. The caves were their only hope, but they were also legends whispered among half-breeds, tales filled with peril. As they arrived at the cave entrance, Renji lit a small torch, casting flickering shadows against the damp stone walls. The vast darkness inside beckoned them, and together they stepped into the cool embrace of the cave, hearts pounding. "Stay close to me," Renji murmured, leading the way as the torchlight illuminated the twisting path ahead. The air was thick with the scent of earth and mystery as they ventured deeper, the silence swallowing their sounds. Aiko felt the walls close in, the weight of her fear pressing down, but she would not falter. Renji's presence was a beacon of hope guiding her through uncertainty. Hours passed as they navigated the labyrinth, its depths pulling them farther and farther from the world above. Aiko's heart raced with both excitement and dread. The stories told of the cave's heart spoke of wonders and danger. "What if we're walking into a trap?" Aiko whispered, her anxiety rising. Renji paused, turning to face her, his eyes fierce with resolve. "We won't let fear control our destiny. We're stronger together, remember?" Reinvigorated by his words, Aiko pressed on, tightly gripping Renji's hand. Together, they ventured deeper, eventually arriving at a vast underground chamber, the heart of the cave, filled with sparkling crystals that glimmered like stars. But the beauty was tainted, shadows lurked at the edges, and they could feel their presence watchful. Suddenly, a low growl rumbled through the cavern, causing echoes to reverberate off the walls. "Renji," Aiko gasped, her heart racing. Before they could react, two hulking figures emerged from the shadows, half-breed guardians, protectors of the depths. Their eyes glowed with an eerie light, filled with ancient power. "Why do you trespass in our domain?" one growled, his voice low and threatening. "We mean no harm," Aiko declared, stepping forward, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her veins. "We seek refuge from the Ashigaru. We come seeking help, not to invade." The guardians exchanged glances, their expressions unreadable. Renji took a defensive stance beside Aiko, alert as they assessed their situation. "You bear the scent of danger," the other guardian said, but your hearts speak of truth. Aiko held her breath as she sensed the shift in the guardian's demeanor. Please, we don't wish to disturb your peace. We only want safety, a place to rest. The first guardian sighed, a sound heavy with age and burden. To find peace, you must pass through the trials of the cave. Face your fears, and if your love is true, you shall be rewarded. As they prepared for whatever awaited them, Aiko exchanged a reassuring glance with Renji. Together, they would confront whatever challenges lay ahead. The guardians led Aiko and Renji through a narrow passage that twisted like a serpent. Each step felt heavier as the air thickened, and the ground shimmered with an otherworldly light. Here, you shall face your deepest fears, the guardians declared before drawing back, leaving Aiko and Renji alone. Suddenly, the chamber changed, morphing into a twisted mirage of Neo-Tokyo. Flickering images of their past surrounded them, the hunt, the rejection, the agonizing whispers of hatred. Renji, Aiko called, her heart racing as the visions closed around them. It's everything we've fought to escape. Stay close, he shouted, reaching for her again, but the shadows swirled, pulling them apart. Aiko found herself in a dark alley, alone with voices that echoed her deepest insecurities, words that mocked her existence, calling her a half-breed, a monster. No, I'm more than that, she cried, fists clenched, pushing against the darkness that sought to consume her. With unwavering resolve, she broke free from the images, feeling the strength of her love for Renji coursing through her. We are not defined by our past, her voice rang out defiantly. In the distance, she saw Renji's silhouette navigating through the shadows, determination etched in his features. With newfound courage, Aiko raced towards him. The darkness around them shifted, dissipating as their hands intertwined. You found me, Renji exclaimed, relief flooding his voice. Aiko! The guardians' voices echoed through the chamber, the darkness fading completely as they emerged victorious from their fears. The entrance to the heart of the cave opened before them, revealing an aura of light. Well done, one guardian intoned, appearing once more. You have faced the abyss of your hearts and emerged united. Together, you may find the safety you seek. A passage leading to a hidden grove opened, and as they stepped through, vibrant foliage enveloped them. A hidden village of half-breeds flourished in the sunlight, the laughter of children echoing in the air. The couple marveled at the sight, a vibrant community living in harmony, hidden from the dark forces outside. As they introduced themselves, the villagers welcomed them with open arms, understanding their struggle of being outcasts. They learned of the village's leader, a wise old woman named Yuki, who possessed knowledge about the Ashigaru and the ongoing fight for freedom. You are safe here, Yuki assured them, her voice calming, filled with wisdom. But the storm is not over. We must unite our efforts to protect the young and the innocent from those who hunt us. Aiko and Renji pledged to help, eager to contribute to this new sanctuary that had accepted them. Days turned to weeks, filled with laughter, hard work, and moments of peace. Yet, in the back of their minds lingered the fear of the Ashigaru's relentless pursuit. Despite the beauty surrounding them, whispers of impending danger began to spread through the village. Aiko could feel the tension in the air. The Ashigaru were honing in, their presence suffocating. In a village meeting, Yuki stood before the gathered members, sharing intelligence about the agency's movements. They are relentless in their hunt for half-breeds. We must prepare for the storm they bring. Renji stepped forward, his voice resolute. We cannot let fear dictate our lives. We should consider a counterattack. We have strength in numbers. Aiko felt the weight of his words. But we cannot risk the safety of the villagers. They've accepted us. We owe it to them to protect this haven. The village debated late into the night, plans emerging as they discussed various strategies. Aiko and Renji, standing side by side, felt the burden of leadership settle heavily upon them. As dawn broke, the village readied itself for the coming confrontation. Merchants and craftsmen quickly crafted weapons and supplies, preparing for an inevitable fight. Aiko saw the fierce spirit of the villagers, ignited by the courage of their shared cause. Amidst the chaos, they received unexpected visitors, a band of half-breeds from nearby regions, answering Yuki's call for unity. Led by a fierce warrior named Haruki, they brought news of Ashigaru forces migrating southwards. I know of their tactics, Haruki declared, determination in his eyes. We can organize a distraction, draw them away from your village. Renji nodded in agreement. The distraction will give us the advantage we need. The new allies began strategizing, laying plans that highlighted each group's strengths. Tensions mounted as the villagers prepared for the battle that would determine their fate. The fateful day arrived, and as the village brewed with determination, Aiko stood overlooking the valley. The weight of her experiences hung heavy on her heart, but she felt an unyielding spirit rising within her. Renji, Aiko said, gazing at him, no matter what happens today, I'm grateful we're together. He smiled gently, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. We fight for our future, Aiko. Together. As the sun rose higher, a flicker of movement caught their eyes. The Ashigaru had finally arrived, a looming force descending upon their haven. The villagers lined up, ready with weapons forged from desperation and hope, staring clearly at the enemy that represented their fears. The moment tension broke, chaos erupted. Echoes of battle cries filled the air as villagers clashed with Ashigaru forces. Aiko fought alongside Renji, their bond resonating in every movement. Hold the line! Renji shouted as they shielded vulnerable villagers from oncoming enemies. Aiko felt the fire of determination fueling her, dodging and weaving through the chaos. But the Ashigaru were relentless, and a figure clad in dark armor emerged from the fray. The commander of the Ashigaru, a figure whose cold eyes focused intently on Aiko. It's over, half-breed, he shouted, advancing toward her. You're nothing but an abomination. Aiko's heart raced at the sight of him, all the fear she had pushed aside resurfacing in waves. But Renji stood firm, his protective instincts flaring. You will not harm her, he shouted, stepping forward valiantly to confront the commander. The final clash was fierce. Shadows loomed as Aiko and Renji faced the commander together. With each strike, they fought as one, the connection between them manifesting in a synergy that defied the odds. Aiko, use your power, Renji urged amid the chaos, his voice breaking through the din around them. Taking a deep breath, she embraced her heritage. Channeling her fox-like abilities, she felt an ancient energy surge within her as her form shimmered briefly with ethereal light. The commander faltered as Aiko unleashed a wave of energy, catching him off guard. Renji seized the opening, striking with precision, and together they finally overwhelmed him, forcing the commander to the ground. As the battle raged on around them, cracks began to form within the Ashigaru's ranks and hope surged among the villagers. The battle ebbed and silence fell as the last of the Ashigaru retreated into the shadows. Exhausted but victorious, Aiko and Renji stood amidst the ruins, breathless yet alive. The village erupted in celebration, yet amid the joy, Aiko felt a hollow ache. The scars of battle remained etched in their hearts. Healing would take time, and the fight for their kind wasn't over yet. We have won today, but will it always be this way? Aiko asked, her voice barely a whisper as she leaned against Renji, her heart heavy with concern. We fought together. That's our strength, he reassured her, pulling her close. We will forge a future where half-breeds and humans can exist side by side. In the days that followed, the village banded together to heal, rebuilding homes and lives, weaving bonds through shared experiences. Aiko found her place among them, not just as Renji's partner, but as a leader who inspired hope. Months passed, turning the village from a hidden refuge into a thriving community that embraced their unity. Aiko and Renji worked alongside their friends and allies, fostering relationships between humans and half-breeds in neighboring areas. Their love had become a symbol of hope, an emblem of a future where acceptance could thrive. As Aiko stood among the flowers in the village square, she watched children play, smiles brightening their faces. She turned to Renji, who approached with a thoughtful smile. Look at how far we've come, he said, wrapping his arms around her waist. This is only the beginning. Together, we can build a legacy, Aiko replied, her heart swelling with pride, one where love surpasses fear. As the seasons changed, so did the village. With newfound allies and growing connections, they held a gathering to discuss further efforts to unite regions, creating a network that encouraged peace among hybrids and humans. There will always be those who resist change, Yuki spoke during the council meeting, but through our united efforts, we can pave a path for those who come after us. Renji's eyes sparkled as he spoke. We must extend our hand to others. We are the light that breaks through darkness. Their vision resonated as they formed alliances with neighboring villages, representing hope in a world that had long been marred by hatred. Despite their achievements, shadows of the past continued to loom. One night, as Aiko sat outside beneath the stars, she pondered how the world outside their peaceful haven remained fraught with struggles. "Renji, do you ever wonder what's happening in Neo-Tokyo?" she asked, her eyes distant. "Every day," he replied, sitting beside her. "There are still many in need, lost without a voice. We can't forget them." Determined to raise awareness, they devised a plan to send messages and emissaries into Neo-Tokyo, offering assistance to half-breeds in hiding and those who feared the Ashigaru. The day of the emissary launch arrived, bringing together villagers and allies eager to spread the message of unity and hope. As Aiko and Renji stood at the forefront, surrounded by friends, they shared their vision of a future where love and acceptance flourished, where fear could no longer dictate lives. With a collective cheer erupting from the crowd, Aiko felt the warmth of connection enveloping her. She turned to Renji, their eyes locking in understanding, a promise sealed in their shared dreams. The dawn of a new era stretched before them, a world where half-breeds could embrace their identity, bridging the divide between hearts and creating a sanctuary built on love. Years passed in the village as Aiko and Renji cemented their legacy. Their dream of a serene life together blossomed into reality when they decided to build a home in the remote mountains, a place where they could carve out a sanctuary of their own. With the support of their friends in the village, Renji skillfully crafted their wooden home, blending modern techniques with traditional Japanese architecture. The scent of pine filled the air as he worked, his hands calloused yet gentle, shaping every beam with love. "This will be our haven," Aiko said one evening, admiring the structure as it took form against the stunning backdrop of towering peaks and lush forests. "The best place to raise our family," Renji replied, a warm smile spreading across his face. Together, they envisioned a future filled with laughter, adventure, and cherished memories beneath the sky that seemed to envelop them in its embrace. Spring gave way to summer, and soon enough the couple welcomed their first child, a daughter they named Hana, meaning flower. She embodied the beauty and resilience of nature, her curious eyes reflecting both her parents' spirits. With each passing day, Hana flourished in the care of her loving parents. Aiko enjoyed teaching her the ways of the forest, how to gather herbs, identify animals, and honor the spirits of the land. Amidst laughter and playful antics, Renji nurtured Hana's adventurous spirit, guiding her in climbing trees and harnessing her strength. Aiko watched with delight as they bonded, her heart swelling with love. As seasons turned, Aiko and Renji expanded their family, welcoming a son named Daiki, who was as inquisitive and brave as his sister. Together, they forged a life bathed in the present, free from the burdens of their past. As the children grew, Aiko and Renji balanced the responsibilities of parenting with their own dreams. The mountains became a playground where exploration and discovery were endless. Aiko often reflected on her journey from the dark alleys of Neo-Tokyo to this tranquil haven. One evening, after tucking the children in, she turned to Renji. "Do you remember our first night here?" she asked, her voice soft, painted with nostalgia. "Of course," he replied, his hazel eyes sparkling. "You said it felt like home." "Because it is home, and it's filled with love," she said, moving closer, their hands intertwining. They watched the sun dip below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, feeling the comfort of home surrounding them. As years unraveled, Aiko and Renji's love remained as vibrant as it was on their first fateful encounter. Yet, amidst the beauty of their family life, they cherished moments alone, where words were replaced by gentle whispers and tender embraces. One starry night, while their children slept peacefully, Aiko took Renji's hand and led him outside to the wooden deck overlooking the valleys. The air was cool, carrying the scent of blooming wildflowers and the calming sound of rustling leaves. "Under a blanket of stars, it feels like our own universe," Aiko murmured, leaning against him. Renji pulled her closer, enveloping her in warmth. "Together, we've built more than a home. We've built a world." As they watched the constellations twinkle above, Renji kissed her softly, igniting a spark that had never dimmed. Their passion blended seamlessly with the tranquility of the night, as they lost themselves in each other, breathing life into their love. The gentle caress of the cool mountain breeze wrapped around them as Renji pulled Aiko closer, their lips meeting in a passionate kiss. The world faded away, leaving only the warmth of their bodies and the rhythm of their breath. As the kiss deepened, Aiko could feel the familiar rush of energy coursing through her. Her fingers tangled in Renji's hair, drawing him nearer, lost in the moment. He wrapped his arms around her waist, the connection between them electrifying. Time seemed to stand still as they surrendered to their desires, exploring each other with newfound intensity. Aiko sighed against his lips, feeling their hearts synchronize, an echo of their journey woven through every movement. Beneath the stars, their love blossomed anew, each kiss and touch igniting a fire that felt as raw and vibrant as the first time they had embraced. Afterward, as they lay beneath a blanket of stars, Aiko gazed up at the sky, her heart full. "I want to share the beauty of this place with the kids." Renji wrapped an arm around her, nodding in agreement. "Exploring the mountains, teaching them about the wild, it'll be their home too." Inspired, they began planning adventures, mapping out trails for their children to discover the forest's wonders. Hidden waterfalls, vibrant meadows, and secret glades where the spirits whispered. With each passing season, Aiko and Renji led their kids on explorations, teaching them the ways of the world around them. From gathering wild herbs to tracking animal prints, they delighted in sharing knowledge and stories of their own journeys. One crisp autumn day, while hiking to a scenic overlook, Aiko paused, letting her heart swell with pride as she watched Hana teach Daiki how to identify bird songs. "Look, Mama, I think I see the red-crowned crane!" Hana exclaimed, her eyes shining with excitement. "Good job, they're a symbol of longevity," Aiko replied, smiling. Renji and Aiko exchanged knowing glances, their hearts brimming with joy as they witnessed their children thrive in a world grounded in love and nature. As the years passed, the children grew, blossoming into their own identities, fiercely connected to the forest that had nurtured them. Aiko felt a bittersweet ache in her heart as they approached milestones and new adventures awaited them. Then, one stormy night, the family gathered around the fireplace, the crackling fire illuminating their smiling faces. Renji began weaving tales of their adventures, igniting excitement in the hearts of his children.